Hi, my name is Ben Weisner. I'm a senior member of the Read Live team, and my job is to educate and support teachers and administrators who are using our programs. In this webinar, I'm going to provide you with an overview of Read Live, Read Naturally's highly effective, research-based reading intervention. With Read Live, educators can easily differentiate instruction to meet the needs of a wide range of students, from first grade to adult. Read Live's powerful web technology platform enables administrators to easily deploy it on one computer or across an entire district. For schools implementing response to intervention or any multi-tiered system of supports, Read Live is an ideal standard protocol intervention for students needing supplemental or intensive instruction. Read Live consists of Read Naturally Live, a fluency intervention that also supports vocabulary, comprehension, and phonics. Word Warm-Ups Live, a phonics intervention to help students develop automaticity in decoding and word recognition. 1 Minute Reader Live, which provides a self-directed, supported reading experience for use during independent reading time or as homework. And Read Naturally Live Español, a version of Read Naturally Live that develops Spanish reading fluency and general reading skills with Spanish texts. My presentation will use slides and live demonstration in a sample Read Live account. Accompanying this presentation is a printable handout with the slides and associated resource links. You can also find links to more basics presentations that teach and inform about all of the Read Live programs. If you have questions after you've viewed the webinar, please let us know and we'll get back to you as soon as possible with a response. Feel free to share this webinar with others in your school or district who may find it of value. Thanks again for joining me. Now let's get started. This slide provides a helpful overview of what each Read Live program is appropriate for. Read Naturally Live is the cornerstone of Read Live. It builds fluency by targeting accuracy, rate, and expression while supporting vocabulary and promoting comprehension. Some reading levels also support phonics. The program uses a research-based strategy to motivate students of all ages and varying levels of ability. Read Naturally Live's high-interest nonfiction stories appeal to students of all ages. Text, audio, and visual prompts guide students through a series of engaging activities that maximize each student's time on task and enable them to work mostly independently, but with some teacher oversight. Read Naturally Live features high-interest nonfiction text as required by state standards, differentiated instruction to meet students' individual needs, technology that supports distance learning and blended learning models, Spanish translation of passages for some levels, and extensive audio support in English and Spanish. Another component of Read Live is Word Warm-Ups Live, which helps students to read phonetically decodable words automatically. Word Warm-Ups teaches skills in a series of short, carefully sequenced activities. Built-in audio lessons systematically teach students common phonics patterns, and then word list exercises give students plenty of decoding practice. Spelling activities deepen the students' mastery of both reading and spelling skills. And story exercises provide practice in decoding words in connected text. Word warm-ups can be used along with Read Naturally Live or on its own. As little as 10 minutes a day can improve your students' decoding skills. Word Warm-Ups Live features differentiated instruction for students who need additional phonics support, direct instruction in common phonics patterns, exercises using words with the featured phonics patterns in connected nonfiction text, spelling activities to deepen mastery of both reading and spelling skills, extensive audio support throughout the program, and explicit instruction in common phonics and syllable patterns. 1 Minute Reader Live applies the Read Naturally strategy in a simplified form that enables students to complete stories independently without teacher sign-off. Reports give teachers visibility into their students' work. Teachers can assign 1 Minute Reader Live stories as independent reading or homework for developing readers, advanced young readers, reluctant readers, or as additional practice for students who use Read Naturally Live. 1 Minute Reader Live provides structured, engaging reading activities to develop fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary. Leveled passages from early reader through 5th grade, motivating graphs, game-like scoring and fun joke jumbles, and teacher reports for tracking student activity. Finally, Read Naturally Live Español is a Spanish language version of Read Naturally Live that develops the literacy skills of multilingual readers. Read Naturally Live Español includes natural language translations for 8 levels of Read Naturally Live stories, from 1.0 through 4.5. Read Naturally Live Español includes audio directions appropriate for both native Spanish or native English speakers, ability to tailor instruction to individual student needs, opportunities for teachers to work with students one-on-one, motivating informational texts, English translations for all stories, and Spanish language student training videos. Read Live provides teachers with the support they need to use the program successfully. Online help, training videos, and free self-paced online training courses ensure that teachers can begin using the program quickly and effectively. In addition, robust distance learning features, single sign-on capabilities, and ongoing program and content updates provide teachers and administrators with the confidence they need that Read Live will always improve and adapt to the evolving educational and technology requirements of their classrooms and schools. Our recommendations for scheduling Read Live programs are as follows. For Read Naturally Live and Read Naturally Live Español, we recommend 30 minutes per session, 3 to 5 days a week. For Word Warm-Ups Live, 10 to 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week is preferred. For RTI Tier 1, a 10-minute warm-up is sufficient, or for Tiers 2 and 3, 20 to 30-minute intervention periods. And for 1 Minute Reader Live, our independent reading program, schedule according to the student's needs and desires. You can use it for homework, summer reading program, or for independent reading time. Read Live is based on the powerful research-based Read Naturally strategy. The strategy consists of the following components. A student begins by getting a baseline for progress monitoring. The student reads the story for the first time to get his or her cold score. This is a timed reading, and the resulting score represents the number of words the student read correctly in a minute. The teacher modeling occurs as the student reads along with an audio recording of the story, sub-vocalizing with the narration until able to read the story without errors. Usually, a student reads along 2 or 3 times, but this varies depending on the age and ability of the student. Next, the student repeatedly times themselves reading the story aloud, using the scores to check progress. The student keeps reading the story until they can read at the individual goal rate that the teacher set. A student who reaches the goal moves on to answer some comprehension questions and then continues to practice while waiting for the teacher. Finally, the teacher listens to the student read. A student who reads with expression at the goal rate with 3 or fewer errors and who answers all the comprehension questions correctly passes the story. The student receives visual feedback on how much improvement was made by working on the story. Over time, a student should show gradual improvement in both the cold and hot scores. Combining these 3 strategies in this way can have dramatic results for your developing and struggling readers. There's strong evidence for the Read Naturally strategy. You can find more information about the strategy and the research studies behind it on our website. Some of the benefits of Read Live for teachers include a research-based, highly effective reading intervention, a full range of levels for differentiating instruction. Read Live is well suited for RTI or MTSS, especially for Tiers 2 and 3. Read Live supports foundational skills, including phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension. It's easy to implement and affordable, and it's adaptable for distance learning requirements. Read Live benefits for administrators include a provable track record of successful use in thousands of schools for over 30 years. It's easily scalable, and it's cloud-based. You can use it on a variety of devices, including Chromebooks and iPads. Over the past year, we've included many new distance learning features, including the ability to add an assistant to aid teachers with remote learning, asynchronous scoring with student recording of past timings, the ability to log in as a student for easier screen sharing, real-time student progress and engagement indicators, customizable lesson settings, and parent communication tools. And now I'm going to switch over to my demo and show you a little bit more about how the Read Live program works. Okay, I'm going to use my sample account, my demo account for Read Live. And the first thing I'm going to do is log in as a staff member. And the staff member I'll log in as is the account administrator. This is the individual that is responsible for setting up the account and who will be the main contact person for the account typically. When you log in, you'll see two options, orientation and resources page and the home page. Let's take a look at the orientation and resources page. This is role specific, so teachers will see a different set of instructions for getting started than account administrators will. And this page also provides links to further information, including to the very important Read Live help page, which I'll talk about towards the end of our presentation. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you have access to a menu. These are the same options that you'll see if you click on the home button in the upper left-hand corner. On the home page, you'll see your account ID. And then you'll see the different tiles that represent the screens that you'll use to work in the program. To set up your account, you'll begin with account and school administration. If you have more than one school, if you're a district, for example, you simply click on Add School and enter in your school's information and decide how licenses will be allocated for that school. On the left side of the screen, you'll see the number of total licenses, how many are available, your subscription end dates. You'll also be able to enable Google Login. I'll talk about that in a little bit, and recording features. Once you've set up your schools, you'll enter in your staff information. When you want to add a new teacher, and you can add as many teachers as you wish, you'll click on Add Staff Member and complete this information. You can add an additional account administrator to assist you, a school coordinator who would be responsible for each school if you have multiple schools in your account. Most of the time, you'll be creating teachers who will simply have a group of students to work with, and then the Read Live assistant, which is an individual like a parent or a classroom aide who would be helping the teacher in working with the child doing cold and hot timings. You can see the responsibilities and capabilities of each of these roles on this screen. Once you've added a staff member, they'll receive an email with information about how to log in and start setting up their account. To add students, you can import them using instructions that we provided for you for importing student data, or you can manually enter them. Either you or the teachers can do this. You simply click on Add Student and complete this information. You license each student for whom you want to provide access to any of the programs. A license by default will provide them access to Read Naturally Live, and then you can add additional access to the other 3 programs in Read Live by simply clicking on these checkboxes. If you have parent or guardian information, including their email, entering this information here will make it easier for you to keep in touch with parents by sending them progress reports, certificates, and awards. Each of the 4 programs, Read Naturally Live, Word Warm-Ups Live, 1 Minute Reader Live, and Read Naturally Live Español, have tiles. So you can use those tiles or you can use those screens to work with students. So for example, in the Read Naturally Live screen, this is where you would place students, excuse me, adjust reading levels and goals. You can print out any of the passages, any of the stories in the upper left-hand corner. You can also change how each student works in the program, provide students with the appropriate settings for their individual needs. For Word Warm-Ups Live, this is where you can print out the phonics assessment, where you can adjust reading levels and goals. You can see which students already have access, and you can add other students to Word Warm-Ups Live as a group, or you can add multiple students to Word Warm-Ups Live from the screen. The waiting list screen is where you will see which students are waiting for a teacher to assist them if you're doing either distance learning, or if you simply want to have a heads up display of which students are waiting for a teacher in the classroom. So this will show you which students are waiting in either the pass or the cold timing step. If students have created a recording for the hot timing in Read Naturally Live, you'll be able to see that here. The reports screen is where you'll access reports for any of the 4 programs, as well as a student roster list and a student passwords list. So the standard reports that we'll have for Read Naturally Live include the students at a glance, student level reports, story details, and we also have a report for placement. So again, this home screen is where administrators, and as we'll see, teachers as well, will manage student records, student information in a quick and easy way. I'll log out as the administrator, and now I log in as the teacher. Once a teacher has been added into the system, they log in with their own user ID and password. And as you can see, this looks a little bit different. There are fewer options. There's also an indicator on the waiting list that there are 4 students for whom this teacher is the lead teacher in Read Naturally Live or Read Naturally Live Español, who are waiting for him or her to conduct either a cold or a hot timing. Teachers can add students as well. They just can't import students the way the account administrator can. And it's the same process, simply completing the screen, licensing students, and then providing them with access to one or more of the programs in Read Live. I mentioned earlier that if you enter in parent or guardian email address into a student record, you would be able to communicate with them more easily. If you go to the Read Naturally Live screen, and we scroll over to the right, you can see that you can use this email contacts button to send an email to parents directly from within the program if their email address has been entered into the system. So again, you can send a progress letter, award for work in a specific level, or award for most recently completed story. So again, very similar to what I showed you earlier for the account administrator. It's just a more simplified version of that home screen with fewer options, but the right number, the correct number of options for teachers in terms of what they are responsible for with students. While the account administrator can generate reports for all students within the account, teachers will be able to generate reports for the students to whom they've assigned licenses. I mentioned earlier that you can add an assistant, or the account administrator can add an assistant. When adding an assistant, you can also assign that assistant to a particular teacher. In this case, this assistant has been assigned to Joe Teacher. my identity for this demonstration. So let's see how that looks if an assistant logs in. And again, the assistant's role would be to assist the teacher. Oftentimes, this is a parent who wishes to work with their child at home. This was particularly useful during distance learning, or it could be, again, any classroom aide who is going to be working with children in the classroom or remotely. So if I'm an assistant, I'll log in with my own user ID. And when I log in as an assistant, instead of going into the staff module, I'm provided with some more or additional information about how to use the program. There's an overview for assistants, a very useful video that assistants can watch before they begin working. And they can also access the waiting list, that list that I showed you earlier, where teachers can see, in this case, assistants can see which students are waiting for them. They can use the login as button, which is one of our distance learning features, to more easily share screens during remote learning. And also listen to a recording of the student if they've left one during the past timing. So I'll log out here. And the next thing that I want to talk about is the Read Live help page. The Read Live help page is an excellent resource for both administrators and teachers. You have access to a variety of videos. Videos are organized by platform and program. Setting up Read Live is most suitable for the account administrator, talking about setting up the account, importing data, assigning licenses to schools and students, etc. And then the Read Naturally Live, Word Warm-Ups Live, and 1-Minute Reader Live videos are geared primarily towards teachers using the Read Live programs in the classroom. They're short videos. You can use them as you see fit. You don't need to watch all of them, whatever seems most appropriate to you. And you can watch them as many times as you wish, obviously. On the right side of the screen, you'll see a Hot Topics section. The first link is using Read Live in a distance learning model. And that provides you with a lot of great resources if you are still wanting to choose to do distance learning with your students. There are the sections on the right side of the Read Live help page are broken down again by platform and program. There are job aids for each of these sections, which includes fidelity checklists, letters home to parents, etc. One thing I will point out to you, a very important resource, is the online courses. You have online courses for Read Naturally Live, Word Warm-Ups Live, and 1-Minute Reader Live. These are an excellent way for teachers to learn how to use these programs in a self-paced way. You can access these courses whenever you wish, and when you've completed them, you will receive a certificate that you can use for PD hours. There's also training videos for students that you can use to help them get up and running quickly, and a steps poster to support the videos. And as I said, we have specific job aids, recorded webinars, and training resources for each of the programs in Read Live. All right, I'm going to move back to my PowerPoint presentation. So if you have Read Live currently, great. If you're watching this webinar to get a better sense for what Read Live is and how it can be helpful or beneficial to you, here's how to get started. The first thing you'll want to do is sign up for a free trial on our website. There are no limits on the number of student licenses. Free trials are 60 days. You'll want to review the resources and the trainings online. And as I mentioned, those can be found primarily on the Read Live help page, but there's plenty of other great articles in our knowledge base or on the blog that may be helpful to you to gain a better understanding of how the program works. You can also feel free to schedule a webinar. You can just give us a call on our 1-800 number or email us to schedule something, and we're happy to provide you with kind of a one-on-one overview of the program so that you can ask questions of a program expert. After you've done those things, you'll set up your account, you'll add students, you'll place your students with levels and goals. If they're doing Read Naturally Live Español, within Word Warm-Ups Live, there's an assessment that you can provide to them. And for 1 Minute Read Aloud, placement is optional. Students can begin working right away. You'll want to train students, and remember our training videos that we've designed specifically for students. Communicate with parents and let them know how the program works and what to expect. So those are the steps for getting started with Read Live if you don't already have it. Read Live is the name of the platform. The 4 programs include Read Naturally Live, Word Warm-Ups Live, 1 Minute Reader Live, and Read Naturally Live Español. That concludes our webinar for today on the basics of Read Live. I hope the information I shared in the live demonstration was useful. If you'd like to learn more, be sure to check out our other basics webinars on the Read Naturally site and reach out to us if you have additional questions about any of our programs. Thanks for joining me.